All right, joining us right now is Mr. Derek O'Brien of the TMC. Mr. Derek, thank you very much for your time. Now, only very recently, the ED questioning of TMC's Abhishek Banerjee is over. And let me ask the first question straight, with a political allegation that comes your way, that the TMC has apparently gone soft on the RSS, the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, attributing certain comments of Mamata Banerjee, saying that she is buckling under pressure of the centre and central agencies because she wants to protect Abhishek Banerjee. How do you respond, Mr. Derek?
I'll give you a one-word answer and then we have to move on, because even answering that question gives it credence, which I don't want to give. The one-word answer is T-R-A-S-H.
Okay. Okay. Coming back to the issue that we are discussing, you see, this question is linked to the topic of discussion. What exactly is the opposition strategy in the build-up to 2024? And the reason why I ask you this question, Mr. Derek O'Brien, is because Mamata Banerjee initiated this process of getting everyone on board in 2021. She wrote a letter, and that did not go really far. And now you have a TRS doing the same thing. You've got the Congress, which feels that there can be no united opposition if it does not have us. So then a larger question is, in the build-up to 2024, what is the opposition strategy, and can we ever have a united opposition?
This whole story, Mr. Upadhyay, of a united opposition versus one current Prime Minister is a question and a story and a narrative which only suits the BJP. What is the opposition strategy? Let me try and answer it. Here we go. You take a strong Chief Minister and a competent Chief Minister, and you pit that Chief Minister in 2024 against an incompetent Prime Minister. So you list out and you communicate to people on Human Development Index, how that state has done, on IT, on infrastructure, on industry, and you pitch that Chief Minister, the competent Chief Minister, against an incompetent Prime Minister. So I gave you one example of what a Chief Minister has done. Every state will have many, many examples. I'll take 20 minutes on your program. We don't have time, so I can't tell you about Bengal. But competent Chief Minister. And who do you pitch this Chief Minister against? The incompetent Prime Minister, who makes big, big promises that he'll deliver everything by 2022, that he'll remove housing for all by 2022, bullet train by 2022, agricultural income will double by 2022. Nothing is happening, 4 months to go. And he also makes the promise that after demonetization, terrorism will be removed, counterfeit currency will be removed. So that's the first play. So it really doesn't matter which Chief Minister is in which state, but they're taking on Mr. Modi. And as I said, competent Chief Ministers. And of course, the second part to this, which has less of a, if I may use the term, lowest common denominator or mass appeal, but was equally important, is how the BJP and Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah in particular are destroying key institutions of this country. So that's the play. After this happens, and once over the next 1.5 years, we start communicating this is the play. Not to fall into the trap of, here is the BJP Prime Minister, who is the one person who will fight that Prime Minister. Since you mentioned the Congress in your question.
Yeah.
It's very clear there also. The Congress and the Congress alone will have to take on the BJP in certain states, starting with Karnataka. And our belief is that the BJP will be in trouble in Karnataka. It's not as easy for the Congress in Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan. Tough battles ahead, but that's the Congress who are playing their role in opposition, as we say. So it's team opposition in different states versus BJP.
I think, you spelled out a strategy, a larger strategy, but Mr. Derek O'Brien, we've seen this happen in the past. We've spoken to Sushmita Dev also of the TMC. We've spoken to other members of the TMC. And they seem to suggest, and this was that point also, that break point also between the Congress and the TMC a couple of months ago, where the general sense was that the Congress tries to garner much more than what should be its proportional share and then fails to deliver. So what you are suggesting as a strategy, can this be acceptable to, say, a bigger player, a pan-India party like the Congress? Because that was the break point earlier.
You know, you used a very interesting phrase.
What was that?
Failed to deliver. If you ever use the phrase fail to deliver, the person who personifies fail to deliver is Prime Minister Modi. I can give you 10 examples of what he's failed to deliver. We are different political parties. TRS have a role to play in Telangana. Trinamool in Bengal now have 22 seats to BJP's 18, actually 23 to BJP's 18. If I take you through the 4-5 states, in Maharashtra, in Bengal, for example, the BJP will be down to below 5. So what does that make it? And I'm going to give you 4-5 states. They are minus 13, minus 14 seats in Bengal. There will be a double-digit minus in Bihar. There will be double-digit minus in Maharashtra. There will be double-digit minus in Bihar, Maharashtra, Bengal. Certainly there will be in Karnataka. So the only gains, if you look at the 2019 results, and I'm willing to concede, they would gain few seats, maybe the AIDMK. I don't know, but they're DMK. DMK will also do very well in Tamil Nadu. So where is this issue, or whether it's a president's election or a vice president election, those are different issues. Because I do believe, and there's no confusion whether you quote a colleague of mine who is supposed to have said something or not supposed to have said something. It's very, very clear. When I mean team opposition, so does AAP have to do in Punjab. AAP decimated them in the assembly elections, and AAP will have to repeat their performance. Delhi is very interesting, and since I mentioned AAP, Delhi is 0-7. There also AAP have been making a lot of noise. They have to deliver seats for team opposition in Delhi.
It's interesting,
Bihar
Mr.
is a
Derek O'Brien, that you
major
mentioned
setback.
team opposition. You mentioned team opposition. Am I to assume, and do you
I
feel
did.
that the utmost importance needs to be given to this phrase, team opposition? That you're all together and doing your own thing, regional satraps doing their own thing, a national party delivering on what they're supposed to.
It's not doing their own thing. It's not doing their own thing. Team opposition doesn't mean that they're doing their own thing. Let me give you an example. When in Maharashtra, the Shiv Sena, the NCP and the Congress are talking about a Gathbandhan to form an alliance, what is wrong with that? That's the political reality in Maharashtra. Good. We don't need a Gathbandhan. We are going to fight all 42 seats in Bengal. Not because we are not playing the team game, because we've taken on the Congress and the CPM and the BJP together as one, and we've cleaned them out last year in the elections. So when I say team opposition, the definition of team opposition in Maharashtra or in Jharkhand is another good example where there is a team. The CPM, the CPI, the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, the Congress, they're all together in Jharkhand. So that's the team opposition there. So I think once we get, I think where the BJP wants to go, Mr. Upadhyay, is they want to give the impression that the 2024 election is a done deal. It's not a done deal because there are serious issues on the economy. There are serious issues on an incompetent Prime Minister who has not delivered. For example, let me give you in Bengal. In Bengal, I will tell the story we have in Bengal is that from 10 medical colleges, we went up to 26 medical colleges. From nursing training schools, we went from 45 to 169. From colleges of nursing, we went from 17 to 99. We have Flipkart's Asia's largest hub here. We have a Silicon Valley coming up in Bengal for jobs. That's the story in Bengal, delivered against incompetent Prime Minister and Mr. Amit Shah, who haven't delivered. That's the key element for 2024.
Sure, fair enough. But my final question,
I'm not
Mr.
a
Derek O'Brien,
apologist.
you see, you mentioned a very interesting thing, a definition to what team opposition means. But you see, Mr. Derek O'Brien, that is going to be seen as your definition of team opposition. Do other opposition team members also have the same definition of what the team means? Like, take for instance the Patna press conference of KCR and Nitish Kumar. where a very important question was asked, what will be the role of the Congress? Who will be the prime ministerial face? And then we saw Mr. Nitish Kumar got a little unsettled.
Got it. I saw that video. Who will be the prime ministerial face? If you ask this question to any opposition party, I'm saying the top 10 opposition party, you ask the question, none of them will give you the answer because it's not needed to be given. It's an inconsequential question at the moment. I've already given you the answer at the top of the program. I won't repeat myself. But I think the attitude of every opposition party must be, and let me choose an analogy carefully, on what you cannot be the peacock. And we all know about peacocks and prime ministers make beautiful pictures on photographs in a garden. You need a team of opposition leaders, and I'm sure we have those opposition leaders in team opposition who will want to play the role which was suggested to them by India's only woman and a 3-time chief minister and a 7-time MP. What did she say, Mamata Banerjee? She said, she is the squirrel in the garden. If we start with that attitude, that we all have a small role to play, because the fight is for a bigger fight. The fight is to save the Constitution of India, and the fight is to remove Mr. Modi democratically by saying that he is incompetent. He makes promises, now 2022 promises, he will deliver. When? 2047. Who will buy this story?
All right. Mr. Derek O'Brien, thank you very much for your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.